Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain clubrooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30pm local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. Justin, VK7 TW at the mic. Now, wish to acknowledge Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of the land upon which we present tonight and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the knowledge, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal Tasmania. Now, we have a huge program tonight. We've got, if I head across to here, we've got the grand old Gibson Girl in the studio with us, which we're going to be looking at in a fair degree of detail. So, I was lucky enough to be successful in getting the Gibson Girl at a recent auction up in the north of the state. So the original owner, or the previous owner, was Nick, VK7 double whiskey and double scotch, if you like. Nick, and he passed it on to me for a wonderful sum. I won't mention what it was, but anyway, it's off to a good home. Now, just remind people the chat is live. If you're coming in, please let us know that you're coming in, and any comments. Andy, hello Andy, 2E0REE, welcome. Hello Warren. And so without further ado, there's a little bit of history to the Gibson Girl. This is a lifeboat radio, and it's fondly called the Gibson Girl. The reason it's called the Gibson Girl is its shape, and there was an 1890s fashion artist called Charles Gibson who drew wonderful pictures, hand-drawn ink pictures, and when he drew women, he used to draw them with hourglass shapes. And so when they came out with this particular radio, someone coined the phrase the Gibson Girl because of its actual shape. Now, the reason it's shaped like that is interesting because, and it was actually influenced by the previous lifeboat radios. So, a little bit of history. And we're talking World War II. These only seem to have become, looking at the history, only seem to have become popular in lifeboats, sort of in between World War I and World War II, and became much more prevalent in World War II and after World War II. The first sort of recorded history, if you like, of lifeboat radios is from Germany. The Luftwaffe, what they called the Notsender NS1s, were Luftwaffe dinghy transmitters. So these were, in the Luftwaffe sense, when a Luftwaffe plane actually crashed, they had a dinghy that they could deploy. There was a radio that was attached to that dinghy and survival kit. And originally it was called the NS1, or the Notsender NS1, the Lufthansa Klein Station, developed in about the 1930s. It used exclusively for emergency communications, and again operated on 500 kilohertz. Now, we don't use 500 kilohertz anymore because of various satellite systems, etc. Hello to Raymond, and hello to Ron. Ron, you might just let us know the volume on the RF, I think, is probably still a little bit low. We've been working on it, but still probably a little bit low. If you could let us know, that would be great. So the lifeboat radio, or the concept of the lifeboat radio, appears to have started from the Germans. Now I've got there's some wonderful references, and all these references are coming from the internet, and I'll put the reference guide on the video description. The NS1 looked like this. Now, surprise, surprise, the shape, the interesting shape, you've got that hourglass shape, you've got a door in the front which has the antenna connection, and then there is an antenna reel. There's a crank on the top, which I'll show you on the Gibson Girl, where that's stowed and its operation. The NS1 transmitter was mounted in a very bulky weatherproof case, so this is all waterproof. Everything's waterproof. It came with aluminium tube and sections. There was 17 feet of vertical rod for the antenna, consisting of 5 sections. The alternative antenna was 165 feet of stainless steel wire, which was wound on the reel in the actual transmitter, and I'll show you that in the Gibson Girl as well. The NS1 developed into the NS2, which actually looks even more like a Gibson Girl. There's a few more controls here that's available to you. And 1941. There seems to have been a bit of a switch in 1941. The RAF, the RAF, so the Royal Air Force, captured one of these emergency radios in the Channel, and they basically took that set and redesigned it to what they called the T1333. Now, the T1333 looked a bit like this. So this is a T133. You can see there's a tuning knob. There's a few other controls on here. The generator handle was still on top. the hourglass shape was made with, these are actually rubber cushions on either side, which is probably much more comfortable when you have it between your legs. The reason it's hourglass shaped, and I'll actually try and demonstrate it later, the unit sits between your legs. In the Gibson Girl, there is actually a canvas strap that goes around your legs, so it holds it still whilst you're turning the handle. Now, the kit for the T1333 also came with a box kite, a triangular box kite, and just hold that thought. Came with a triangular box kite so that you could fly the antenna whilst you're in the lifeboat. It followed very similar circuit to the German NS2s and NS2As. It used, and these will be familiar to those people who have played with valve radios. It used a 6V6G as the crystal controlled oscillator, and it used a 6J7G as the 100 Hertz audio oscillator / modulator for the CW keying. The generator again was a dual low tension and high tension generator, and I'll show you the generator inside the Gibson Girl in a sec. Now, from the T133 came the US version, which is what we are actually looking at. The Gibson Girl was based on the T133. They made it a little bit more sturdy. This is all welded case. There's a big weld mark that goes all the way around the front. It is really sturdy. It's quite thick. It's quite weighty too. It's in excess of about 30 pounds, so fairly heavy. Oh, hello to Harry, hello to Lionel, and thank you, Ron, for the level check. Fantastic. Okay. Okay. So the US during the war. So this is mid 1941. The US decide that they need lots and lots of these lifeboat radios. So they actually contracted the Bendix Aviation Limited Company and gave them an order for 11,600 sets because they could actually deliver them really quick. The first sets were delivered May 1942, so they really pulled their finger out there. And the Gibson Girl, very similar circuit diagram. In fact, the circuit diagram, we might zoom in here just a little bit. Just let me zoom in and I'll put it on the screen. So oh, sorry, that was that was a bit of a rough transition, wasn't it? So it's a 2-valve set. What you've basically got is your main beam power tetrode, I think it is, which is supplying. That's got a tuned circuit. That's supplying your 500 kilohertz power CW signal and the RF power. And this is your ECO, or your electron coupled oscillator, which is supplying at 1,000 hertz. It is keyed by a mechanical mechanism to give you. There are two settings. One is an SOS and a long dash, and then there is an AA and a long dash. So there are two different settings, and I'll show you how they do that mechanically. That's actually mechanically part of the generating mechanics. And you can see the generator down here. There is a low voltage section and there's a high voltage section. There's a crank handle. This is the switch on the front to select the mode, and then there is a tuning arrangement here. There's an inductor for the two frequency settings, and there is also a variable capacitor, and I'll show you that variable capacitor when I open up the box. So really simple circuit, and you'll notice the thing about the Gibson Girl was it was not crystal locked, whereas the German and also the British one, the Marconi 610 that I showed you a couple of weeks ago was actually crystal locked. So the Gibson Girl wasn't 500 kilohertz and also 8364 kilohertz. So this is the two settings on the tuning inductor. What else have I? It gave an output of about 3 or 4 watts. It had, and in fact, the antenna arrangement. I'll just go to the Gibson Girl here. The antenna arrangement. This is where the antenna is. If you pull out the pin and open it up, there is about 165 feet of fine Litz wire in here. It's all taped up right at the moment. That you connect to the antenna that you either fly or whatever. There's a little winding arrangement in here. There is a brake on the front. So that if you happen to have it on the end of a kite or something like that, you can brake. You can turn the tighten or loosen the release on that. Little handle that flicks out, and then you've got your antenna connection that once you've got it deployed, you can then clip this onto the reel, and you've got your connection to your antenna. So that's the antenna arrangement. Very similar on most of the other units. The ground. This is very interesting. This has got this little cap here. If you pull it out, it has ground and says throw into water. So it's got a little O-ring on it. It's all waterproofed, and it's got a little reel of wire, of that Litz wire, and you throw that into the water for the ground, and it all pokes back into the hole, and you can turn it up. Now the other side here, very interesting. This little one, you don't usually undo this, but inside of this side is desiccant, a little cotton bag of water absorbing desiccant. And this is open inside, and I'll show you that in a second. It's open inside, so that any water that does get inside this box hopefully is absorbed by the desiccant, and you can put the desiccant into the oven and get rid of the water as well. So the controls, you've got a tuning knob here, which is connected to your tuning capacitor inside for the antenna tuning arrangement. You've got a couple of settings in the middle here. Very interesting little knob here. One side says radio, one side says light. Yes, light. And so there is a little socket up here where you can plug a lamp into, a signal lamp. And the fascinating thing about the signal lamp is it had a strap on it that you put around your chin, and you put the lamp on top of your head so that it was pointed upwards towards hopefully the search antennas the search aircraft that were looking for you. So it's not only keying RF, it's also keying the lamp that came in the survival kit. You can see here, if I auto 1 offer, now auto 1 is the SOS and a long dash, and the lamp is off. So it's only the RF side of it in this particular mode. If you go to Auto 2, you've got, this is AA and a long dash, and the light is off. And if you go to manual, you've got the light on manual and the radio is off. This is your key. So this is a little switch for that keys your, if you're in a radio, your RF signal, but if you're in light, it keys your light signal as well. And then, so that's the 3 settings that it's available. You could go radio manual, and then it's the key and the light is off, or you can go vice versa, and it's you're keying the lamp and not the RF. So very simple. On the top, and I'll just show you the top. The top actually has how to operate the radio. So this is to use the signal lamp. This is how you use it. It's got the Morse code signal arrangement. It's got how you connect the antenna and the ground and the securing cord. To operate the radio transmitter, the frequency is 500 kilohertz MCW. Is install the crank handle. Now, on the back of the unit, there is a little, there's a little clip here. That's not the original clip, but there's a little clip that goes over here that clips together a bit like a safety pin, and it goes up. It's got a little bit of chain that goes up to here, so you can take out the crank handle, and the crank handle clips into the top and screws in. So you can screw it into the unit so the crank handle doesn't come adrift. Now the other thing that's on the top, this is very interesting. It's got this, there's 2 little windows that have got lamps behind them inside. This first one is the speed indicator. So this is the speed indicator for the crank handle. So the speed indicator says keep lighted. So long as that's lit, you're going at the right speed, and it's 80 revs per minute is the optimum speed. Let's see if we can get this. We're on, yes. Let's see if we can get this. There we go. It's lit. So we're going at the right speed. So we need to keep it lit. Fairly rowdy. Now the other one over here is tune to brightest. So with your tuning capacitor, basically, and I suspect somebody else is doing this because you're madly trying to keep this going and keep that lit. Tune to brightest, so it gives you a little bit of the ability to tune the antenna, and basically that's a neon that goes across the output of the transmitter. Now inside, I've taken the screws out of here, and can I just say it is in immaculate condition, this particular unit. So I don't think it was ever used in anger at sea. Just to start with, the crank arrangement. This is a marvel of mechanics in here. There is a crank arrangement inside. Goes down to the crank that is obviously geared up, so it's the small amount of effort that you've got to put in here translates into a lot of effort for the generator. Here's the generator here. One end is low voltage, the other end is high voltage, so because it's a valve unit. You can see there is a little keying arrangement in here, so there's a little relay in here. And up here, you've got a whole lot of contacts which come off one of the shafts of the gearbox, and that is the keying SOS or AA and a long dash. So and this relay clicks in once you're up to speed. So absolutely, it's a marvel of mechanics. There's a globe up here that lights. There is your neon that's up here, which is for your tune. That goes to the antenna, that particular lead. Now the rest of this, you can see there is here's your coil which sets the frequency that oscillator runs at, either 500 kilohertz or it's 8.3 megahertz. You've got some coupling transformers, you've got microcapacitors, you've got your 2 valves. So your power amplifier and your 1000 hertz. Actually, no, that's the 1000 hertz. That's the power amplifier, because it goes off to the tuning capacitor, and then this is the 1000 hertz oscillator over here. Two valves, 2 metal encased valves. You've got your switch, your multiple, your wafer switch, and you can see here your tuning capacitor. Very nice little tuning capacitor that enables you to hopefully do some tuning. There's a big microcapacitor on the across the that tuning capacitor as well. So that's now. Okay, I've got to plug this back in here. Click, and then there's a big. One of the things I didn't point out, there's a big rubber washer that goes around the that hopefully keeps all the moisture out of the inside. There are lots and lots of, as you can see, screws that hold all of this together. So I just wanted to I'm going to try and do this is not going to work. I'm going to have to do it over here. Just hang on. So let's go over here. How am I going to do this? Okay, let me just reset the studio a little bit. This is live television. We'll just come up a bit and we'll head over to that chair there. Actually, let's stay with that chair. Let's see whether we can't. Okay, we've got to go down a bit. Live television, people. Live television. Okay. So what you would be doing. Let me go down a bit further. Oh my God. Let me go down a bit further. Okay. So what you would be doing sitting in the lifeboat, you're sitting in the lifeboat with this between your legs, and there's a big strap that goes around your legs so that it holds it here, and you're doing this and getting that up to, there we go, it's lit, the lamp's lit. And in fact, as soon as the lamp's lit, you can feel the generator working a little bit easier. So you would be sitting here. Someone would be tuning, would be trying to tune the, and you can see the tune is lit. Tune to brightest. So we try and tune to the brightest here. Anyway, it's a bit of it is well and truly a bit of effort. Oh, hang on, we weren't on the seat. Let me go down a bit. Okay. So you would have this, like here. There we go. We've got the speed lit, and we've got the tuning. We can tune, and we can tune. We can get the tuning neon lit as well. So, and somebody had to keep doing that. Oh my goodness! And I'm tired out just doing it for a weeny little bit. But you get I hope you get the gist that this could be the one thing that that potentially saved you when you're out on out in the lifeboat. Now, there's an interesting maritime bit of history here. Let me just go and get in our club rooms. In fact, I can what I can do is in our club rooms we have a. Let me just. Sorry, I'm going to whiz around here a little bit. In our club rooms we have up on the wall. It's a replica, but it's a maritime watch clock. And you can see that on the 15, so from 15 and also the 9, so 3 and 9, you can see the red slots of time. Now, in maritime history, basically when it got to 3 minutes starting at the 15 and the 45 minutes in the hour, everybody would stop transmitting. And the reason they would stop transmitting was to listen for really weak emergency signals. And so it shows the red bits there where you cannot, if you were in a maritime arrangement on a ship or on a coast radio station like we're in, you would listen for 3 minutes at the 15-minute mark of the hour and at the 45-minute mark of the hour. And that clock told you kept that clock incredibly accurate, and that's when you listened. You just went into listening only mode, no transmitting, and you do that on the 15-minute and the 45-minute for 3 minutes. So just a little bit of funny maritime history. And you would be listening for people, hopefully, in the lifeboats, madly winding the crank handle, and hopefully you would then someone would raise the alarm and they would send out a plane or a boat and try and find you. So there you go. And David, yes, I thought I'd arrived in the gym session when using the radio. That's pretty much it. You certainly would get a good workout. And bear in mind, you'd probably be in a survival suit, so you'd be sweating yourself to almost to death, cranking the handle, trying to stay in the lifeboat, trying to put the antenna up. Now, the Gibson Girl. This is another bit of interesting history here. The Gibson Girl kit actually came with this is the kit that the Gibson Girl came in. So this is what it would look like on a lifeboat. Now, inside of this kit is this box kite. This is it unfolded. That's why it sticks out the top. It's to take the length of the box kite. Now the box kites are fantastic kites because they will go up in the air with very little wind, and they will stay very stable even in really rough wind. But these kits, many of these kits also had not only a kite, it had a replacement antenna, an extra antenna, and it had rubber balloons with a kit that enabled you to make hydrogen in the lifeboat and fill the balloon, and then put the balloon up on the end of the antenna so you could get it up really high. Just phenomenal, the length that they went to. Those balloons obviously would have to be checked fairly regularly because the rubber would perish, but it included a box kite, which is, you can see here, that's what's sticking out the top here, but that's the whole kit, including the Gibson Girl, the balloon, the hydrogen making kit, the balloons, the box kite, etc, etc, etc. So it's just phenomenal, the length that they went to. And that is that's the Gibson Girl kit, or what the Americans referred to as the SCR 578, 578 or BC 778 was also a nomenclature for it, and that whole pack weighed 34 pounds, so it was a lot of weight, a lot of weight. So used a 12A7 beam tetrode for the 500 kilohertz and the 8.3 meg RF power amplifier, and then it was grid modulated by a 1000 hertz tone oscillator valve, which was a 12 SC7 double triode. So that's what's inside there. They're the military equivalents inside the kit. So just phenomenal. Now post World War II, it went on. They went on to develop them even further. They did put the 8.2 meg and a few other options in there. It was still only a transmitter. The Marconi 610 that I showed you a couple of weeks ago was actually a transmitter and receiver. This is only a transmitter, so you have no way of being able to receive a signal. You're just transmitting and hope somebody's picking it up. The Russians went on to produce their own. It was called an AVRA 45, which was basically a copy of the BC 778. All that it looked exactly the same. It looked the same shape. It just had Russian writing on it, and it had Russian valves in it. So yeah, they went on to be manufactured. Now these days, of course, we've got satellite emergency communication systems and all sorts of things. I'm not quite sure what happens when they're knocked out, but we need to go back to radio. And most radio operators, I'm not sure, would know how to operate a radio on a ship these days, but because they don't have radio operators. Anyway, that's the Gibson Girl. Fantastic bit of maritime history, but also radio history. I now have one in my collection. Thank you to Nick, VK7 Whiskey, and he. I don't think NTARC knows what they have actually started, because I now am into collecting maritime lifeboat radios. So there you go. Let me go here. So the last look at the Gibson. Last look at the Girl. Sorry, that was the last look at the clock. Last look at the Gibson Girl. Fantastic bit of history. So what we'll now do, I've got, how are we going for time? It's 8 o'clock, 9 past 8. I showed you last week the Pi TNC, or the TNC-Pi. I have built it, and now how are we going to do this? I think, let me just go like that. Okay, cool. So what you're seeing on the screen, I hope, is the TNC-Pi has been built. I'll show you that in a sec. On the screen, what I'm using is I have a little handheld here on the APRS frequency. and it is running a little program called YAAC, YAAC, and it is, you'll notice it is showing Hobart, the map in the background, and just to prove that it is actually receiving RF, the little brown box, which is the radio view in this particular application, I went out and turned my van on and it beaconed, and it shows VK7TW9-9, and that's come from the Tiny Track 3, which is in the van and transmitting when I am driving around. So what now? This is going to be a bit of a challenge, isn't it? I've got to watch this on another screen. So what? Let me just get rid of YAAC. Oh, this is a lot of hysteresis. Okay, let's got rid of that. You can notice I've set it up. If I zoom in here in the middle, let's go in a bit. I have set this up for it's taking a little while. Okay, it's zooming in. This is I've set this up so that it's a fixed station at home. So you can see here I'm zooming in, and it's telling me VK7TW, and that's pretty close to where it should be, which is good. And it is receiving RF on the APRS frequency through this dear little rubber ducky on the top of the handheld, which can I just say probably not receiving that much right at the moment. Up here there's lots and lots of noise, but anyway, it's certainly the Pi TNC is off and running. The TNC-Pi is off and running. I will be connecting it to a at this stage it's only receiving only. I haven't got it connected up for the transmitting side of it, so it's only receiving whatever that handheld's receiving, which I suspect is probably not much up here, given the amount of noise and the fact that we are transmitting DATV signal, which is 7 megs wide on the 70 centimetre band, literally directly above us. But we're making progress, and the TNC-Pi, I'll see if I can pick it up here. The TNC-Pi is the hat on top of the Raspberry Pi. It's a Raspberry Pi 3 that is sitting there, and there is a little cable that goes off to the handheld, to the side of the handheld, with the speaker socket on the side. It's got a little HDMI screen, which is blue right at the moment because I've got the display plugged in for you guys, so you can see what's coming out of the Pi. Yeah, we're off and running, and I now need to do a whole lot more reading on how to set up TNCs and how to set up APRS and iGateways and internet gateways and all sorts of stuff. So that reading's being done at the moment, and I hope in a future episode I can hopefully do a bit of more of an expose on YAAC, and I've been suggested, Scott's suggested a couple of other options for me, which are open source and available, so I may play with them as well. But I just wanted to let you know the kit that I showed last week has now been built. It's up and going. It's working really well. Haven't set the audio levels though on transmit or receive, which I'll do in the coming weeks. So watch this space. Now, last thing today. For those people who are about, on Sunday we have a end of year barbecue, free end of year barbecue up here at the Domain from 11 a.m. So after the statewide broadcast goes out, 11 a.m. Free barbecue. We'll be doing some fox hunts. There is a car boot sale as well. So please bring along your car boots full of treasures that you want to redistribute to others and share the love. So yeah, that's 11 o'clock this Sunday up here on the Queen's Domain. So please, you're welcome to come along. Yeah, and if there's any special catering or whatever else, please get in contact with our secretary at reast.asn.au, and hopefully we can make some adjustments for you. So, that's our show for tonight. This has been VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night 73, and we will catch you next week. Cheers.